Hey there viewers, welcome back to another episode of VGAPR Garage. Today we're working on this 2014 Ford F-150. So today we're going to be replacing these worn out struts or shock absorbers with some nice Bilsteins. First thing we're going to want to do is remove this dust cap because we're going to need access to the CV shaft nut. Come on. It's a coming. There we go. So the nut is a 13 millimeter. It's actually loose and I know it's untighten. So, and then I'm just going to thread it back on a few threads and make sure that the CV shaft is free, and it is. Let's go ahead, take that off, put it aside and out of the way. Next thing is we have ABS line, brake line that we're going to want to remove from the knuckle, and then there's going to be some tabs that we're also going to want to move because this whole knuckle is really going to come down. And of course we're going to want to remove this caliper. Let me go ahead and get you guys moved into an area where you guys can really see. So for the ABS mount, it's an 8 milli. And get you on. There we go. And then for the brake line, it's a 10 mil. Now those, and now these are free. So for the ABS line, you're going to see a bracket here, and then a bracket up in here. You're going to want to remove those so that you're not really, when this whole knuckle comes down, it isn't hanging on the ABS line. So now we need to remove the caliper, and these bolts are on extremely tight. I think there's even red Loctite on them. So I want to be going clockwise on them to break them free. You guys are really in the way. There's one free. I got this upper one. May have to go get that pipe because they're on there for show. Ford does not want you having your brake caliper just come on off. Free. There we go. Now and these bolts are a 21 millimeter. Got one right here. And there we go. 1 and 2. It's a good idea to just clean those threads off because we're going to put some red Loctite on them. Now we're going to take the caliper off and we're going to hang it. This should just come on off. Let's go ahead and get the hang ready because we're going to hang it up in there. There we go. Bring it down, and then I'm gonna hang it. I'm gonna try to hang it. There we go. We're gonna hang it up like so. And there we go. Sorry for my arms in the way, guys. All right. So now a lot of this stuff is free. The next thing we're gonna do is we're going to turn the wheel the opposite direction because we need to get to the tie rod. Because we're gonna unbolt that. But actually, while we're right here, let's go ahead and get this bad boy out because I know we're gonna need to. So I'm gonna spray this down because I want to be able to break it free easily. 10. So this is, I believe, yeah, it's an 8mm. So this is an OEM, so if you have an aftermarket one, at this point, I don't know what those specs would be. But the top is an 8, and the actual bolt is probably going to be an 18mm, and it is. So we can go ahead and break it free first with the 18mm. So I was going the right way. Oh, we got lucky this time. It came right out. Normally these kind of bolts, this kind of setup is you use a wrench to undo the nut, and you'll hold it with this. But didn't have to. That's awesome. Set that aside, and now we're gonna go ahead and rotate the wheel this way. We're going to turn the wheel this way so we can access to the other side, because that's where everything that we're going to need to undo is. So now we want to undo the tie rod, because that's going to give us access to get the strut out. And the bolt for the tie rod is a 21mm. Now we're gonna wrap it free or tap it. Tappa. Oop. And it's free. I like to take the nut, put the nut back on. That way I know where it goes. So now we've got the upper ball joint nut. We need to break that free. Again, another 21mm. Let's give that some lube to come down. Alright, so there was still some rust in there, which actually turned the ball joint, which is fine. We can still get it out. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and do the 10mm. We're going to go ahead and get a 21mm wrench. Alright. You're going to hold the ball joint. This looks like the other side. It is on there super, super tight. We'll let it, I think what we're going to do, we're going to let it spin and get right there. Ha! Look what I did. Now I can't get in there, but this should be able to do it. So we're going to let it spin, and then There we go. Okay. So when this comes down, when this bolt comes off, it's going to want to come down fast. You have an airline for your four-wheel drive system on these models. The airline comes off. I take it off so in case it's old or brittle, it won't break. You don't want to have that happen. Because it's Saturday, and I'm sure the Ford part department does not have one available. And it would also help Joshua. Woo! Let's try doing it the right way. But well, since we did it up, let's spray some more in there to help try to break it free. So up on top of the shock mount, there are three 15mm bolts. There will be one here, and one here. They really are not on that tight. We got one free. Got on that one. We're gonna get another one free. There we go. And we got one way in the back. We're gonna pop that one free. Again, they're really not on there that tight. Now I can take my Milwaukee, because it's the best. Now I feel like a fool because this didn't happen on, there we go. Grab that nut. Put it aside. You will be reusing these nuts because obviously you didn't get a new shock mount. Go. That one. And the one way in the back. There we go. Alright, so now we need to undo these two bolts. They are, I believe, some nice 18mm. Let's check to make sure. Heck yeah, they're two 18mm. Let's go ahead and zip those right off. We got one. We got another one in there. Alright. These you will not be reusing. So now, it is free. The way I like to take it out is I'm going to put the shock back up inside the Perch so that the threads are coming out. And then that will allow me to come down here and pull this out. You'll have to pull the control arm down a little bit. I am going to give this a tappy tap tap to break these free. And so grab that pry bar. So you can pull it out with the top of the strut mount first, but that means you have to loosen this control arm. You don't want to mess around with too much. So why unloosen this if you don't have to? So there we go, we are free, and there we are. Now, let's go ahead and build this shock. So, when you purchase your Bilstein struts, they are not side specific. But what you need to pay attention to is they are angled. Like this one is angled because when it sits in the truck, it sits in the truck like this. So you need to be mindful of that. You don't see how it is, there's the angles like this in it. If you're not going to be able to get it in, or you're going to tear the boot. So you want to make sure that these bushings and the mounts are in the same orientation. So let's go ahead and start by getting the tool set up to compress these springs. Or this spring, I already did the other side. You on alignment. Go. Alright. I did clean the threads off of the top of the strut and sprayed it down with some lube so that it shouldn't be too difficult to get it apart. Alright, want to do there. You want to make sure that your spring compressors are opposite each other on the spring. I need to go grab the hammer, because I know I'm going to need it. There we go. I'll grab the hammer real quick. Hammer time! Hammer, hammer, hammer! Alright. So, quick socket for this tool is we're out of there. Let's go ahead and start compressing the spring. You want to go back and forth like this. All right, now I see the tension starting to be relieved from the bottom perch. So we're going to go ahead and take that top nut off. 16, so I think it was 16. Something tells me you're just an 18. So yeah, that top bolt is an 18 millimeter. Hopefully don't fight us too much. There we go. Came out just good. So now we can go ahead and tap the spring the top mount. I want to tap it off. Come on off. The other side gave me some trouble too. I guess it's going to come off like that, which is fine. So, let's go ahead and take this whole assembly, move it out of the way. We're going to need this, so take that off. We're going to head and tap this cap off. There we go. And now we need to get the bottom spring perch off. Tappa, tappa, tappa away. Let's make sure you guys can still see. So I'm just gonna take it and there we go. So again, be mindful of how the strut's going to be in the car. I know this is going to be on the passenger side. I know it's going to be angled like this. So you want to make sure that you have it angled correctly. You need to have it angled the opposite direction on the driver's side. So we've got our kit that comes with the struts. We don't need these right now. But we need this kind of like a hat, and it just simply goes down on the strut. We're gonna take our lower perch and get that cleaned up where the spring's gonna sit. There we go. We're gonna have it in the same orientation as it was. Now, when it is on the truck, so say your strut mount bolts aren't lined up with where the bolts are going to go, it's off, you can turn it, so don't freak out. So now, we're going to want to take this whole spring assembly. Nope, we don't want to forget this. Don't forget your bump stop. Take the whole spring assembly. We're going to put it through there. And the bolt should come out, or the top of the strut will come out of the mount. Come on. I know it's scary. Take a look here. Let's lift it up. I don't really like putting my face in front of the coil like this. There we go, got it all lined up. Alright, so you want to make sure that your bottom perch is in the right spot. The kit comes with a washer. Take that washer, take the nut with a oops. Take the nut with a nylon in it, put it on top. Tighten it down until it basically will stop, and basically you're good to go with releasing the tension. So now let's go ahead and release the tension. Be mindful of both of your spring perches. They do have a place to go. You don't want to get them out of alignment. Alright, so now is also a good time. Let's go ahead and see if we can start tightening that nut. And this nut that comes with the kit is larger. It is a 19 millimeter, I believe. Is it a 19? Yes, it is. Hold the bottom of the strut. It's getting there. Alright, we are there. Springs are where they need to be. Let's go ahead and undo this all the way. There's that side. That side. And alright, this is ready to go back onto the truck. Alright, so now we want to get the strut in place. I am spraying some fluid film up in this area and on top of the shock mount. Try to preserve it from the New York State salt. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab this bad boy and put it all on up in. Wow, first try, line those holes up. First try. Alright, we're just gonna put the bolts in or on loosely because we're gonna need to align the control arm. So, and there goes the light. I wish that they would put stronger magnets on them. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a gander down here where we need to just twist the strut slightly. There we go. And we got 1 bolt and 2 bolt. Both of these are also, the nut and the bolt are 18 millimeters. So now is the time that you're going to need your jack underneath the control arm, because we're going to need to jack it up. So there we go, that's it. Now we're going to take the 2 bolts and just put those on. This will obviously hold the control arm in place. There we go. And we got the other one. Come on. Alright. Now we're going to let it down because we need access to those bolts. Alright. So we're going to grab the bolt with an 18 millimeter wrench. We're going to zap-a-do. We got that one in. We're going to creep on over to this side. Get that one in. Let's confirm this one's still in. I'd say they're both nice and tight. Huh? You want to make sure it's tight. You don't like loose stuff, so definitely want to make sure that it is tight. Alright, I gotta take a picture of these brakes because the customer needs to replace them. I need to tighten the bolts on top. There's that one. One back here. Now I'm gonna take a breaker bar and just make sure that those are nice and tight. I want the customer coming back saying, hey, my strut's making noise. There we go. So now we need to take the CV shaft and put it down in the knuckle, line the splines up, and we're going to take that carefully. This is very heavy. We're going to take that nut and put it on the end of that CV shaft. This is going to keep the spindle from dropping because I have to use the jack and align the spindle with the upper control arm. Man, does it like to fight. Alright, so how we're going to do that is we're going to put a jack underneath the control arm. Start jacking it up slightly. I'm going to move you guys back. I want to try to get the whole thing, but I don't know how well that's going to work. we'll do this. All right. So now I'm gonna align, and you also want to align the sway bar link, but luckily in this case it aligned itself. So now we're gonna take the jack and just start jacking it up. All right, so now we need to take where'd that nut go? Oh, there you are. That's right at the edge of the frame. But now we need to take that nut and put that nut on like so. There we go. Now we're gonna add just a little bit more pressure. There we go. So that we can take the 21 millimeter with the good battery and tighten that up. Now we can release the pressure, but while we're right here, I think you guys, yeah, you can see. Let's go ahead and do that nut right there. 13 millimeter. Make sure those splines are in, which looks like they are. There we go. I'm gonna spray some fluid film on that, right there. And then we're gonna take the cap, put the cap back on, and every tool has a hammer end besides a hammer. Tap it, tap it, tap it. We've got the tie rod end. A nice turn right there. That again is a 21 millimeter. Now, because I would forget, take that, whoop. Man, this angle sucks, I'm sorry guys. Now that we're right here, take that 4-wheel drive air hose, put that down in there. There we go. So now we're gonna go ahead and turn the wheel and finish everything else up. I'm adding red Permatex Loctite to the caliper bolts. That's what Ford used on this, so that's what I'm going to do. Not saying it's a must, but it's what I'm doing. There we go. And there we go. I'm going to undo the caliper. There we go. Sorry that I'm sure I'm in the way. Take the caliper, we're gonna put the caliper back on. Don't fight it. There we go. Hopefully we get the brake job, and then I can show you guys how to do brakes on a front brakes, because I think I've done rear brakes on an F-150 and not fronts. So now we're going to line those bolts up, start them in. There we go. That is, but I don't want that in there. Got our bottom bolt. Got to push that in a little bit more. There we go. These are 21 milli. Let's make sure that the bottom one's in too. Tight, tight, tight. There we go. Now we've got our bracketry. We've got this one right here. And no, I have not forgotten about the sway bar link. Put that there. Take this one. Put that one right there. Let's go ahead and grab that 10 milli. There we go. Then we're gonna grab that 8 milli. There we go. Now we need to grab the nut for the sway bar link. So I think we're gonna have to compress the. Ow! Ow, my knee. Ooh! Ouch! 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 Ow! Tell I'm getting old. Alright, so now we've got that compressed. Can you guys see the sway bar? Kinda. It's in there, I promise ya. So we've got the nut. We're going to put the nut on it. If I'm not mistaken, that was an 18 millimeter. Yes, it is. I don't know if this is going to fit in there. Alright, let's try this. See what it can do. Probably not too much. Wow. There we go. It did a lot. Alright, I'll shut my mouth about that tool. Alright, so that's tight. What I want to do is also spray that down with some fluid film to protect it. Spray that down with some fluid film. Same thing with the control, or the, what do you call it, tie rod end. We want to connect this, put that where it's supposed to go. Come on, and then we have the two that go onto the frame. Right in there to see. Alright, so that's how you replace a front strut on a 2014 newer Ford F-150. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Questions and comments, I get back to everybody. If you want to see more videos from me, you might want to think about hitting that subscribe button. If you want to know when I have the videos, think about ringing that bell. Alright guys, clean your tools off and I'll see you next time. Bye.